All right. It's saying that we're live, and I hope so. I apologize for the delay. Um, someone gave me a thumbs down. Well, anyway, I'm sorry that I disappointed you for being late. Um, I had some technical difficulties. I actually sent an email just a few minutes ago. I don't know if you got it. I was having a little difficulty. Hey, what's up? What's up, Matt? Glad you can make it. Um, yeah, sorry about those difficulties. Um, I'm gonna start, getting right into the information. Um, as I mentioned, um, for some reason I was trying to click to go to the Hangout, but the button wasn't working. For some reason, YouTube was just taking a long time to load up. Um, After I signed in, it was just taking a long time to load up. So what I did was I went to my newsletter account to send an email and tell everyone that I was having some difficulty. So that explains that. Um, so right now, I'm going to go ahead and get into the information. Uh, what we're going to talk about is um, a supplement that helps that may be overlooked, and I'm also going to get into grounding. Um, but first, I'm going to get into some questions. Hey, what's up? I guess that's Pavel. Glad you're here, Pavel. Um, I'm going to get into some questions that were sent to me, and these questions were perfect um, because it's related to something else I wanted to discuss. It's actually a third subject. Um, what was shared is let me read this. Oh, okay, that's cool, Matt. You have about 5 questions. That's great. That's great. Um, what we'll do is get uh, we're gonna have a little more time than last time. Okay, so it's cool. All right, this is the last day of April, so I decided to take a look at my morning height after 2 weeks when I saw a new peak. But news is that I didn't see a bigger height. What's more, it was a little bit lower. Okay, by about 2 millimeters. This person is saying that that's a little disappointing, but no matter what, I want to be 180 centimeters tall this year, so I don't give up and I train more. Okay, that's great. Um, so this person mentioned that, and then they have listed their questions, which is great. But I want to address this first part, but let me go ahead and read the next, what they've listed as question 1. What are the top 3 mistakes that we can make being consistent that can stop our gains? Okay, and so I'll address this because this is related to what I want to say. Okay, all right. Um, First of all, well, in addressing question 1, what are the top 3 mistakes that we can make being consistent that can stop our gains? I'll mention one of those mistakes, and that is simply not keeping track of what you're doing. Okay, not keeping track. When I first started, well, I won't say when I first started. We'll just say um, when I did that effort at a routine starting in December 26, 2016, which was just last year, What I had was a sheet, okay? I had these sheets made up where I had the exercises and the nutrition, okay? And what I did was I filled these sheets out on a daily basis so I could find out, you know, how I was doing. And if I was seeing improvements, I wanted to know why. If I wasn't seeing improvements, I wanted to know why also. So that's what's really important, is keeping track. Um, I think the other key thing that's important, and it actually comes with keeping track, is really having a good understanding of what your baseline is. And that's why I encourage people to uh, their first week measure their height daily. That's important, because how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you are? So um, like this person mentioned, I want to address something here. This person said that, you know, with it being the last day of April, they decided to take a look at their morning height after 2 weeks to see if they could see a new peak. And I think that's great. I think that's great. But what they saw was that it was a little bit lower, and I certainly understand that can be very discouraging. It was lower by about 2 millimeters. This person is trying to gain 2 millimeters, but it's lower by 2 millimeters. So they're not really encouraged about that. That is disappointing. That is disappointing. But it's also great that this person is still going to be moving forward. But what I have to say about that is, if you have a previous peak that you're trying to beat, I wrote all this down. If you have a previous peak that you're trying to beat and you want to see a new one, first of all, you need 1 or 2 weeks of vertical bodybuilding activity and nutrition. And what you're saying is that you have that. That's great. But here's the thing. Once you have those 1 to 2 weeks of vertical bodybuilding nutrition, what you want to do from that point is, in order to see a new peak, don't just take one day and measure your height. That's not how my approach works. You know, everyone may have their approach, but that's not how the approach works that I'm communicating. The way the approach works is, you do your activity 1 to 2 weeks, and then whatever week that you want to see that gain, what you want to do is measure your height every day that week, okay? Because I can't predict when the height is going to show up, but what I found is that if you take a week and you measure your height every day that week, you're likely to see that new gain within that week that you're measuring every day, okay? Like some of you, you may not like the idea of measuring your height every day. That's great. That's beautiful. I think that's completely fine. But what I would suggest, however, is when you want to see a new peak, and we're talking about morning height here, when you're ready to see that new peak, just for that week, measure your height daily, okay? You may see fluctuations. Your height is going to fluctuate, but what you're looking for is that new peak. And what you're going to find is that your average that week will also be higher, okay? So I just wanted to make that clear. Let me make sure I mention all my points here. So as a scenario, let's say, hold on. All right, let's take myself, okay? Let's take myself. My last peak was 176.25 centimeters, okay? I want to see a new peak that's higher. So what I need to do is work out, have proper nutrition for 1 or 2 weeks, okay? And to make it simple, let's say I need to do this for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I need to do my vertical bodybuilding nutrition and my vertical bodybuilding exercise. I need to do that for 2 weeks, okay? And let's say, since I already know what my peak is, I already know that my peak is 176.25. So let's say I don't measure during those 2 weeks because I just want to focus on activity, focus on nutrition, focus on doing the right thing. So I don't even think about measuring, okay? But now, let's say I've come to the end of those 2 weeks. I don't measure, I just do the nutrition, I just do the workouts, I don't measure. Now, I've done all of that. It's been 14 days. So now we're at day 15. What do I want to do at day 15? Okay. What I want to do is wake up, measure myself on day 15, and do the exact same thing from day 15 to day 21. Measure myself each of those days, okay? And what's going to happen is on one of those days, I should see a new peak, okay? On one of those days, I don't know what day it's going to be. So I may measure myself on day 15, and I might be one, let's just say I'm 150, no, I'm 179.975, okay? You know, we'll make it simple. I'm 175.9. If I just go by that, I may be so discouraged, like, oh man, oh, that stinks. But that's just one day. What I need to do is measure myself on day 16 as well. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. And on between day 15 and day 21, I'll see that new peak because I can't predict. But here's the caveat. I have to continue my routine. Okay? I can't just do my routine for 14 days and say, okay, I'm going to stop on day 15 and just measure myself day 15 through 21. I'm just going to measure. I'm not going to work out. I'm not going to do my nutrition. And I expect to see a height increase. No, that's not how it works. You do your workouts for 14 days. And then from day 15 through 21, you continue to do your workouts. You just measure yourself every day. On one of those days, you'll see the new peak. That's how it works. You just can't take one day. All right. Let me see what else I need to mention here. Yeah, and that's important because one of the reasons why we even look for new peaks is so that we can stay encouraged, so that we can see that we're progressing. And so that is also one of the reasons why I would encourage, if you don't know what your peak is, to actually measure yourself daily that first week. That's so important, because what if you don't see a new peak? What if you don't? I'm gonna have to ask you, Matt, about those raw cashews you keep talking about. Anyway, if you don't see a new peak days 15 through 21, if you don't see a new peak, at least know what your morning height average is, and you want something to compare it to. That way we can at least know what direction you're going in. Is your average going down or is it going up? Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, this is all to keep you motivated and on the right track. And that's why right now I'm going to talk to you about a new arrangement that I want to have for you all. Is I want to have it. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me well, yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about it. What I want to do is going forward, I want to evaluate your activity. I want to evaluate what you're doing. Okay? And it's up to you. You don't have to take advantage of this. But if you have questions about what you might be doing wrong, any mistakes that you might be making, if you're filling these out, you can email them to me. And every week during the Hangout, I can take one of y'all's charts that you've been filling out on a daily basis, and I can evaluate it. If you feel like you haven't been getting gains, I can look and see, okay, where's the problem? And what we're going to do, we're just going to do a brief evaluation of me, okay? And we're going to do this evaluation of the routine that I started in December 2016. We briefly want to do this. I started on December 26, 2016. And I did it all the way to January 9th, okay? Wait, the week of January 9th. So that was now January 16th, okay? Those are the 3 weeks that I want to evaluate. I did a little bit after that, but we're just going to evaluate these 3 weeks, okay? Now, as you know, I did not report a new peak, even though I did a routine for 3 weeks. 3 weeks is long enough to see a new peak. Why was I not able to see a new peak? And so now we're going to evaluate this and I'll find out why. I thought about sending y'all copies of this, but for now, you're just going to have to, just take my word for it. But I wrote all of this down. Now, at the beginning, what we are going to say is that we do know that my morning height was being influenced by what I was doing, because that was going up. Just the average from each week just was going up slightly, but it was very small. So that what was good. We try to stay positive. That is what was going good. But at the end of the day, it was very, very slow, and I did not see a new peak. So what went wrong? Well, for one thing, as we talked about in the crash course, the minimum amount of stretches that one wants to do is about 150 to 180. Okay, that's minimum. It's great if you can do 360 or more. For that first week, I was working to build myself into the program. I did 90 stretches that first week. That's not the minimum. Okay, that's not the minimum. So if I was critiquing myself, I would say, okay, we got to get your stretches up to at least 150. Okay, so for week 1, I did 90 stretches. For week 2, I did 193 stretches. So that was good. I was improving. Okay, but for week 3, my stretches were only about 83. And I have a question mark. You probably can't see that, but I have a question mark by 83, which means one of those days I kind of lost count or something. But so for 3 weeks, there was 90 stretches, 193 stretches, and 83 stretches. So for 2 of those 3 weeks, I was not even doing the minimal amount of stretching. Okay, and I'm able to know that because I was filling out these sheets, keeping track. Okay, what else? So if I ever were to do a routine again, I would know, I would make sure I'm doing that better. Okay. Another thing that I noticed that was wrong, the reason why I didn't see any gains, is that I was averaging less than 7 hours of sleep. Okay. And I have it right on here. The first week, my average sleep was about 7.25 hours for that first week. I remember the first day, I got it logged here. On the first day, I had about 8 hours of sleep, but it was broken up. The next day, I had 6.75 hours of sleep. On another day, I had 6 hours. Another day, about 7.5, broken up. The second week, my average of sleep was even a little less. I was averaging 6.71 hours of sleep. Okay, so I remember that first day that week, I had 5.75 hours of sleep. Okay, just a little under 6 hours. So on another day, I had even less. On none of those days did I have 8 hours of sleep. For the second week, every day my sleep was less than 8 hours. Okay, so that was that. On week number 3, I had a day where I even had 4 hours of sleep. Okay, so sleep was a problem. So we've already identified 2 reasons why a new peak did not occur for me, even though I put 3 works of effort in. The stretches were not minimal. I was not doing the minimum, just the bare minimum amount. I only did it 1 week, but 2 of those weeks I didn't. The other issue was that sleep was lacking. Okay? Here's another thing that I noticed. Every day of those 3 weeks, I had not taken Irish moss. Now, Irish moss is not necessarily mandatory. It's not. But I do know it's something that helped me in the past. And for those first 3 weeks, I hadn't taken any Irish moss for the first 3 weeks. Okay? It's not absolutely necessary, but that's just something I noted. Here's another thing that I noticed. And we're doing this to critique myself. And this is what I would do for you. If you are going through the effort, you feel like you're putting in all this hard work, but you're not seeing results, this is what I can do for you, okay? What I noticed during this period is that when it comes to eggs, I didn't have any eggs, y'all, on that 3rd week. I didn't have any eggs, and I only had a small amount of milk. On one day, I had 8 ounces of milk. On another day, I had 16 ounces of milk, and that's it. The other 5 days, I'm not showing anything when it comes to milk intake. So when it comes to things that increased growth energy, I wasn't doing it. Okay, I wasn't doing what I needed to do. Okay. What else did I notice? I did notice that my nutrition was really good that 2nd week. But like I said, sleep was lacking at the same time. And as I mentioned earlier, all the elements need to be there. All the elements need to be there. I also noticed an area where it could have affected my gains is that there was absolutely no green vegetable intake that 3rd week. I don't know if you can see it there, but there was green. I have my vegetable stuff right here. Okay, there was actually no vegetable content that 3rd week. Okay, and I also noticed this: calcium. My calcium intake was not where it needed to be. Okay, and as I mentioned before, we can get calcium from food. We can also get calcium from supplements. So if you're wondering, how come when Skin Tight Flash started that routine back in December 26th, and I know he had to be doing it for at least 3 weeks, why didn't he have any gains? I just told you. And why was I able to tell you? Because I kept track. And that's why I urge you, to keep track if you want. Let me just say it this way. For me to be able to help you, for me to really be able to help you to see gains, I got to know where you're at. And for me to know where you're at, I need to know what you're doing. And we can do that by keeping track. And if you like, you can send me what you're doing on a daily basis. If you want to build this up for 3 weeks, if you want to build it up for 2 or 3 weeks, and if you don't see gains in 2 or 3 weeks, send it to me, and I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, what needs to change in order for you to see gains? And if you're doing just the basics of what you need to do to see gains, and then you're not, seeing gains, we can just honestly say, hey, this isn't working for you. This ain't working for you. Okay? So that's that. Now, so yeah. So I'm encouraging everybody to do that. Now, this other thing I wanted to talk about is me. Okay, now what about me? Okay. You might be saying, Skin Tight Flash, you're telling us how you can help us, but how you gonna help yourself? So you might you might be wondering about that. It is my goal to see a gain by April 10th. Have I done anything with regard to vertical bodybuilding? Well, as I mentioned before, just being upfront, it is a challenge. This whole time since April 10th, April 11th, I think on one particular day, I think I did one stretch before I went to bed. And a couple of days ago, I think I actually got up to 24 stretches. So that's it when it comes to vertical bodybuilding activity. Now, I'll talk about what I'm going to do going forward, but let's just tell you how it's been so far. On one particular day, I did one stretch. It was a reach, actually. I did a reach. About 2 days ago, I got 24 stretches in, and that's it. That's it. Okay? So, what will I be doing going forward? Well, I got a little bit of news for you. I quit my job. I quit. It was ridiculous. And I quit it because, not because of vertical bodybuilding. I didn't quit it because of that. I quit it because it was getting in the way of other things in my life, okay? My life had really lost its balance, okay? So I actually quit my job this past Wednesday. I quit it this past Wednesday, and I said, I'm out of here. And it was good, it was good and everything. But what made me decide to quit was, you remember that crazy week I told you about where I worked nearly 60 hours a week? Well, I found out that day on Wednesday that was going to be more of a regular thing, okay? It might not be, around 60 hours, but it could be around 55, okay? And when I found that out, I made my decision right then and there. I walked outside for a little bit, made some calls. I talked to my family, talked to my spiritual advisors, want to make sure I'm making the right decision. Then I walked back in. And, actually, when I walked back in, my boss, he was in the meeting, so couldn't talk to him. So I went on my lunch break. And that's when I got a call from my boss. And at the end of the day, went in his office. I'm out of there. I quit. But it was on good terms. It was on good terms. And so what I did was, I had to talk with my family and everything. And, we made a decision about what I'll be doing going forward. So I am doing something else right now, but there's a little more time freedom. There's a little more. And just to see how I felt again, I said a couple of days ago, so it must have been Friday. It must have been Friday. I just said, let me do some stretches, man. Just let me do some stretches again. And I did it, and it felt awesome. It felt awesome. It's a shame. It's a shame that I had to quit my job to just know what that felt like again. But yeah, so I quit that bad boy, and I did some stretches. I did 26 stretches. I'm like, man, and and it's just that feeling. This is what I want to do. This is what it's all about. So anyway, I'm in a process of looking for another job. And I'm also kind of in the process of working things out because some of you started the trial I think it was around April 10th or April 11th, and I really want you all to see me have a height increase before the trial period is up. That's actually important to me. And what I want to do is, when I see that height increase, I want to evaluate what went right. And I want to do that every time I have a height increase. So I want you to be able to experience that, you know, before this trial period is up. So actually, it's in my mind, and I got some things to think about today. But it's in my mind to actually have a height increase in 7 days. Okay, by the next hangout, I want to have a height increase. Okay, and I think I can do it. And one reason I think I can do it, because I've seen a height increase in as little as 8 days before. And I'm actually, by the way, I haven't eaten anything today. And my whole, what I talked about yesterday, you know, with my wife and everything, is about starting a fast just to get in the right mindset. When I say fast, I'm not talking about not eating. I'm talking about eating certain things like eggs, Irish moss, kelp tea, beets, and that's all I eat. Anything I'm taking in is going to influence my growth. And I call it a growth spurt fast. It's a growth spurt fast. That's what I call it. And basically every single thing I'm taking in is supposed to influence me vertically. And it's crazy. And it's like I don't eat anything else unless I take in all of my growth spurt stuff that day. Okay? And so, Dylan. Hey, what's up, Dylan? What's up? When you were noticing most high, were you stretching often, and what were your main growth tolerance stretches? I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that, Dylan. So anyway, from now to the next hangout, I'm gonna see if I can actually pull off a height increase, and I want us to be able to evaluate what went right, and I'll be able to tell you about the growth spurt fast. It's just a program where everything I take in influences me vertically. So yeah, that's how things are going right now, and I'm hoping to see you know, today is actually supposed to be the first day. If I do anything today, it's not really stretching or anything, but it's just making sure I take in all those things that influence height. I do all of that today, and do that on until next Sunday. And so we'll see how that goes. And I want to do that because by the 5th hangout, some of your trials memberships may be over, and I just really want you to see a height increase before that happens. Okay, so now with that being said, now we can talk about these other things. One of you, oh yeah, I can't talk. I wanted to talk about the supplement that helps, and also grounding, but there was more to one of your questions, and I gotta answer that. Okay, so let me go back to the email. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, what are the top 3 mistakes? This email was actually sent about 4 hours ago, so I haven't had much time to think on it. But the top 2 I can say is one, not keeping track, and what did I say? I said oh, I answered it. You have to rewind it to the end, to the beginning of the video. But one of them was not keeping track, and I gave another answer which was the second mistake. But when it comes to the third mistake, not quite sure. Not quite sure. Sorry about that. If I can think of a third mistake, I will. All right. Here's question number 2. I did your routine or your approach in August 2016, but I didn't see much gains, about 1 to 2 millimeters in 2 months. What appeared in my body, I thought this was incredible. What appeared in my body was a new tooth. And it says it's the 8th tooth counting from the middle of the mouth. So it sounds like a wisdom tooth. This person says it grew to half of the nominal length and stopped after I stopped doing the routine, which was consuming Irish moss, green pastures oil, and calcium. And the person goes on to say, now in April, when I went back to the routine, I noticed that this tooth almost grew to the nominal length. Can this tooth be a reason of not seeing gains this month? Can this tooth suck all my bone nutrients? I think that's a great question. I see it this way. I don't think you need to be worried about the tooth. Let the tooth do its thing. First of all, I think it's incredible. Okay, I think it's awesome. And it does sound like it's your wisdom tooth. What the body will do is seek to address whatever it considers to be a priority. So when it comes to the priorities in your body, it sees that in order for you to grow, in order for you to thrive, you have to be able to digest. You have to be able to consume. And so your body will see it as a high priority for you to have all your teeth. And so that's good. When it comes to seeing gains, the truth is you might be seeing gains. Look, man, if you notice that your tooth is growing, that is an excellent sign. That is a good sign, man. That's incredible. It means your body wants to create new bone. Okay, your body is in a mode of wanting to grow bones, man. And whatever you were doing all the right things for your body to grow a bone. Okay? So that's good, and it shows that when you were doing it, it was coming in more. So keep doing it, because once your body, if your body is in that both growing mode, and it puts your wisdom teeth in, okay, and now you're constantly applying vertical pressure to your body, you're doing all the right stuff when it comes to exercises, reaching, macrofactors, all that good stuff. Your body still wants to make new bone. And if your body has made all the bone that it needs to make in your teeth, where else is it gonna make new bone? Oh, that's great, Matt. That's great. Wisdom teeth coming through, man. Hey, you guys are doing the right things, okay? Your body is showing attention to growing bone, okay? Keep it up. I just urge you, apply vertical pressure to your body. Your body's in the mood. Your body's in the mood to grow bone. Great. It's a good sign. Don't be upset about your tooth. Keep doing the right things. Let it grow in all the way, and keep doing your stretch. That's what I would recommend. Okay? That's what I would recommend. Okay? Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Keep doing more of what's been getting you that result. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now I don't know how much that excites me. That's awesome. That's incredible. Okay, let me go to the next question. Don't be worried about that tooth, man. You good. You good, man. All right, let me see here. Question number 3. Can I count my hanging on a bar as a stretch? Oh, see, the only thing is mine are impacted. Okay. So it hurts. Man, there's some things I can say about that. But okay, since this is actually related to what I was just talking about, Matt, what I know about taking in Irish malls, calcium, green pastures, and especially if you take in calc T as well. What I have heard, now some people may think I'm a quack if I say this, but your jawline and all of that can actually be restructured. Okay, it can actually create more room in the mouth for teeth to grow. And I'll say that for sure that certainly happens when one is younger. I think it could possibly happen when one is older. But those who advocate taking in the cod liver oil and the butter oil say that for their children, it helps them to have more room for all their teeth to grow in straight. But hey, I guess I can talk about more of that like on a one-on-one level. But anyway, I still think it's kind of cool. But just so you know, calc T and all that other stuff you've been doing, it may help with that. But at the end of the day, you can always get braces if it becomes an issue. But it's up to you. Okay, so I just had to mention that. Thank you for your input. I appreciate it. So now we'll go to question 3. This person asks, can I count my hanging on a bar as a stretch? I try to do at least 50 stretches a day, and last time when I hang to the limit, I counted as 1 stretch. Is it okay? I certainly did count, when I was doing hanging, I did count hanging as a stretch. And I would hang for a minimum of 10 seconds, there are times where I did 30 seconds. Wouldn't say it was often, but what I would recommend is doing it for at least 30 seconds, okay? And y'all, there's like this, I don't just want to throw another theory at y'all, but when it comes to just hanging for an extended period of time, let me see how long this person was hanging. I'm sorry. Let me check again. Okay, yeah, he counted it as 1 stretch. Okay. Hey, first of all, that's great. I'm not sure. Like if you're hanging for 10 minutes straight or something like that, I'm not quite sure how to count it, but I do know that when I would hang for 30 seconds, I would count that as 1 stretch. I would hang again for 30 seconds, that's stretch number 2. Hang again, stretch number 3. I would do that. There were times even if I hang for 10 seconds, I counted it as a stretch. So I just had this thought one time, like if you took a rubber band and if you stretched it and you just held that stretch for, I don't know, a minute, how long might that rubber band be after that minute? Not much longer than it was originally. But if you took that same rubber band and you stretched it repeatedly within a minute, just kept doing like that, wouldn't it be a lot longer after a minute? It's like same time, but it's longer. And might that apply in a human body? I don't know. But I do remember there was a time I went through a phase where I just wanted to stretch and hold it, like just hold a stretch for a long time. But later, I stopped it because I thought about that rubber band. I was like, you know what? If I just keep stretching, it, it's like I may actually get more results. It was just a thought. Now, how this applies, it may not even apply. I don't know. Y'all might have your own thoughts. You may talk amongst yourselves. I don't know. But that was just a thought that I had. I remember there was a time when, well, this happens quite a few times. Like I want to pop my neck, and so what happened is I might, kind of stretch it so I can, feel that pop, and I'm not feeling it. It's not stretching it enough. But I thought about the rubber band. And I said, okay, well, let me do it like this. Let me just keep stretching, and boom, I feel the pop. It's like the same amount of time, but because it's like repeated, boom, I feel it. I stretch enough to feel it. So, I just think about that. So if one were to hang for like 10 minutes straight, just hold a hang for 10 minutes versus doing it repeatedly over the course of 10 minutes, I don't know. Who knows? It may work better. That method may work better for a stretch than it does for a hang. And then it might be totally different for a reach. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. You can use your wisdom to But in answer to your question, if I hang for 30 seconds, I'm counting that as one stretch. Okay? And yeah. Hope that answered it, man. So here's question number 4. Is it okay to do all the stretches at night or around workout time? I read from your crash course that you recommend to do the stretches also early in the morning. Okay. You can do stretches anytime. Stretches, reaches, hanging, anytime. Anytime that's most convenient for you. I mentioned the morning because there are certain advantages to the morning, but again, I have seen gains doing them at night, doing them in the afternoon, so it don't matter. Just do them when you can. And I do feel that my numbers will still apply, even if you do the stretches at night. The estimates that I give you in the crash course, I believe those estimates still work if you do them at night. Okay? All right. So that was all the questions from this particular gentleman. I hope that this helped you, sir. Yeah, if you have any more questions, send it to me, and I will try my best to give you a good answer. And that's anybody. All right. So now it's time to answer some questions in the chat box. Okie dokie. All right. Were these exercises on the table the only ones you did to grow? I may not be answering these questions in order, so please forgive me for that. I'm just going for it, and I may actually scroll up to look to see any other questions that you may have asked. But were these exercises on the table the only ones you did to grow 1.5 inches? Let me make sure. Yep. There's one that I did not include hanging, but I didn't do much hanging. I did. So I did do hanging, yeah, but not much. So y'all are getting pretty much everything. I just didn't mention the hanging. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Hey, can I ask my first question also while you're answering questions? Anyway, here it goes. You can keep it as long or short as you want. I just want to know what I'm doing wrong. I've been doing my routine now for 5 months, and I only have gained 1 centimeter. Thanks. Yeah, what I would need from you is if you could just, you know, first of all, 1 centimeter, I think that's good. I think it's commendable. Great job. I would just have to say great job. 1 centimeter is good. So I don't think you need to feel bad about that. You know, when it comes to those 5 months, the question is how many breaks did you have? You know, that can certainly influence your gains, okay? It can certainly influence your gains because, as I said before, the body needs to be stretched out. I'll try to make this short. The body needs to be stretched out. And so if you get your body in a stretched out phase and you're getting gains, but then you stop working out, then your body loses that stretched out point that it was at. So you kind of have to work your way back up. So having breaks in between can really influence how fast your gains appear. Okay? And when it comes to other things, hey, just from here going forward, if you could possibly just keep a log of your activity and your nutrition, then you can just send that to me in an email, and I'll be able to let you know what's been going on. But Mark, I think you've been doing good actually, so that's commendable. I took a few breaks. Here's the one that we were talking about in the group that kind of baffled us. This is the second one. Okay. I'll wait for that one to come in. And while I'm waiting for his question to come in, I'm going back to look at some other ones. Remember, Dylan had one. Hey, skin tight. When you were nursing, were you stretching often? What were your main growth tolerance stretches? Yeah. Yeah, I was stretching often, Dylan. And my main stretches are the stretches you'll see in the guide. I would say stretches I probably did more than the others were, let me look at it. The double-legged forward bend, which is the sitting down toe touch. Toe touch is sitting down. Mountains, I did a lot of mountains. Oh yeah. On this list, you won't see me mention mountains, and that's because I do more, going forward, I'm going to do my mountains, but on my tiptoes, okay? Because I think tiptoeing engages more the growth zones. It may engage growth zones, and it may influence growth even more. That's my opinion, okay? So, yeah, mountains, the double-legged forward bend, side stretches. I did do a few butterflies. I did a few butterflies. Quad stretches. And what I call the shark. Okay, shark. But not too much of the shark, honestly. Like the stretches that I mentioned before mentioning the shark, I did more of those stretches, okay? All right. Whoa, dude, you're tall. You're over 5'11" and a half. That's all right. Man, that'll be awesome if you do grow. I've been with you and that's watching your first video. Whoa. I'm wondering if I remember you. Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. That's awesome. I think I remember you, man. I think you had a video up one time. Yeah, that's cool. All right. I think another question is ready for me. Okay. I'm going back to Mark, where it says he took a few breaks. Here's the one that was being talked about that kind of baffled him and some others. So he says, I measured last Tuesday and I got an increase to 183.5 centimeters, a half centimeter gain. But the next day I checked, that gain was gone. Okay, cool. Well, first of all, congratulations on the gain. Was that your highest height ever that you've logged at that particular time? I'm curious to know that. Was that your tallest height that you've measured in a while? Okay, also I checked each other day after that, hoping it would come back, but it didn't come back. Oh, I'll send it again. That's weird. I don't know. Okay, I measured last Tuesday. Okay. Okay, yeah. So, Mark, my question would be, I'm curious, was that your highest gain? I mean, your highest height that you've ever seen? And from what I remember, you measured yourself in the afternoon. So was that the highest you've seen? And you measured every day. Oh, well, hey, you measured last Tuesday. So when you say last Tuesday, if you mean this past Tuesday, hey, that's, let me just tell you how I do it, Mark. Let's just say I was at that wonderful height of 183.5 centimeters. And let's say I saw that this past Tuesday. And let's say I saw it in the morning. That was my morning height. Then I'm satisfied. If I don't see 183.5 again for the rest of the week, like from that Tuesday to the next Tuesday, I'm fine. I saw a peak. Excellent. Now, what I would do is keep doing my routine from next Tuesday onward, looking for another peak. Okay? Looking for another peak. That's how I would do it. You got your peak for the week. You got your peak. Now it's time to go for another peak. And just keep going for new peaks. Okay? Highest height ever. That's great. Awesome. I just read it in the chat. Highest height ever, Matt. Man, that is incredible. Happy for you, man. You doing it, Matt. You doing it, man. You doing this thing. Man, I'm happy for you, dude. I'm happy for you. Man, don't stop, man. You're inspiring me. Don't stop, man. That's great. That's great. So I would say you've got your peak, man. Just go for the next one. Don't worry if it goes down here and there. No. Go for the next one. And if you want to, just keep doing your routine for 2. If you don't like looking at your height every day, fine. Just do your routine for another week or 2 without even looking. And then at that 3rd week, measure every day that week and just log whatever your next peak is, because you should have another one. Last time we talked with you taking in the nutrition that you're taking in with the results that you're seeing, you will see another one, man. And you telling me your wisdom tooth is coming in, your body wants to create bone. You're in a good state right now. You're in a good state, man. Don't you dare stop, man. Don't you dare stop. Please keep going. Please. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Someone else asks, what does a calf exercise actually mean? I thought I showed a picture of it in the oh, I don't know what you're talking about. You might mean the calf stretch, or you might mean calves when it comes to weightlifting. But you can just look it up online. I don't know if I mentioned it in the crash course. When it comes to a calf stretch, I may have showed a picture of a calf stretch, but maybe I didn't, because I thought everyone would know. So just go online and just look where the calf stretch is, and that's a calf stretch I do. And when it comes to calf exercises, yeah, just look weightlifting calves, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, let me inseam. Oh, you did do a video, Dylan. Yeah, yeah. I think I remember you, man. I think you were the reason I actually did neck stretches. Um, yeah, I actually did neck stretch. I did it for a little bit, but yeah, yeah. That's awesome, Dylan. What's up? It's been a while. That's cool. That's cool. What's our what you inseam? So you probably asking what's my inseam. I haven't. I'll measure that today. I said I would measure it by Sunday or something. I forgot what I said. I think I said I'll measure it by Sunday. I'll measure it today. I haven't gotten to it. After I quit on Wednesday, after quit my job on Wednesday, I've been hustling to make sure that uh, we maintain the status quo over here, financially speaking. So, um, I've been quite occupied, but I'll do it today. I'll do it today, okay? I'll do it today. And maybe I'll send it, I can send it via email or post it to the Verb Music and Art, which I did not post for the last 2 or 3 days, and I need to update that, okay? So yeah, I'll put that up. Okay, how important is nutrition? Is it essential? It's absolutely essential, Mark. Absolutely. You gotta be there. All right. Calf in the wait, let me not get ahead of myself. Dylan says skin time, my morning height has increased 1/4 inches to 6 feet 0.75 inches. What is your ultimate morning height goal? It's still 6'4", man, and I think I can do it. I think I can do it. The reason that I haven't seen height increases is not because I'm through growing. I don't believe that. I believe it's because I haven't been doing the activity. When I really do the activity, I see height, and it always excites me. So yeah, that's my goal. And like I said, I want to see a height by next hangout, which means I have to have some really good planning today. So for today, I got to do my inseam measurement and go ahead and put that up. And I need to make sure my schedule is laid out well so I can give y'all a height increase. All right. Yeah, that'd be so nice. All right. All right. And this person is asking calf in the table. Yeah, I mentioned calf 2 times in the table. I mentioned it right in the stretching section, and I mentioned it in the weightlifting section. So, yeah, it either means stretch or the weightlifting exercise for calf. All right, so Mark is saying, how many times a week should we go for runs, aka bone stimulating cardio? For me, runs are not a part of my program. Cycling is. Cycling, reaching, and stretching. If this was all I did, probably, yeah, I'll put runs in there. But if you wanted to see a fast height increase, what I would recommend is that you do sprinting 2 or 3 times a week. Okay? 2 or 3 times a week. Sprinting, all out sprinting. And when you sprint, run for 30 seconds. Okay? Or, yeah, I recommend running for 30 seconds. Full blast. Not just running, but like running as fast as you've ever done for 30 seconds, and do that 2 or 3 times a week. And this is if I was coaching you, like if I was over there where you are and I was in the field with you, I would say, hey man, I want you to run 30 seconds straight as fast as you can and do that 6 times, okay? Do it once, take a break, get your breath and all that stuff, and then do it again. And right after you did it for the 6th time, I would say, take a break. Now what I want you to do is lay down on the grass and do some sharks for me. And I want you to exert yourself like crazy, 30 seconds. And I want you to do it. I would probably tell you to do it 6 or 12 times. Okay? And just stretch during that shark. Stretch your feet, point them toes forward and stretch them arms up above your head and do that like crazy. Just go hard with it and do that 6 times at least. 30 seconds each after you sprint. That's what I tell you to do. Okay. Oh, what's up? Vertical. Hey, John. Glad you can make it. Hey, Skin, what do you think of myofascial release and foam rolling? Yeah, I know a little bit about that. That sounds like aerosty a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. When it comes to how it affects height gains, I don't know. I did it because I had some foot problems, and I went and I had an aerosty specialist work on me. So I just don't know much about it as far as vertical gains are concerned. But yeah, it does help if you have tight muscles. Yep, sure do. Absolutely, it's incredible. When I had aerosty done on me, it was amazing the relief I felt. Yeah. The exercise I feel really helped me as far as vertically. They're in that chart. There are a couple that I have on my table that are not in your table, but he ain't nothing you need to worry about. Because when it comes to the gains, my height gains, what I did to achieve the high gains I have so far, it's all on your table. The table's in the crash course. Okay. Mark is asking, is biking essential? Well, to get my gains, I didn't do any biking. I mean, I tried to bike, like, a couple times. Like, I get on, ride the bike, 5 minutes. Like, whatever, forget it. It's like that. Yeah, but no, that didn't help me get gains. I did not ride a bike. I tried it. That was about it. But I didn't do bike riding. I'm doing bike riding now because I just really want to put as many odds in my favor. The things that I think are most impactful, I want to be doing due to my limited time and how much gains I want to see. So yeah, I'm adding biking now. And I intend to do biking this week. Okay. Mark saying I won't be able to afford one until June. Thanks. Almost done. Just one more question. LOL. All right. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool. You can't afford one. That's cool. It's all good. You haven't gained. You're doing great. Another question. I grow 1 centimeter within first 3 weeks. Great. And then 0.5 centimeters in 6 months. Will the growth slow down in that pattern? I was dedicated in that times with no breaks, mostly only inversion. Yeah, but I don't know what your nutrition was, mostly only inversion, and did your routine change? I'm gonna call you Charisma because that's what I see. I think I know who you are, but I don't want to say who you are in case you don't want me to say your name. But so this person says he grew 1 centimeter that first 3 weeks, then 0.5 centimeters in 6 months. I need to know, how are the exercises different? How is the nutrition different? That can play a role. I just don't look at growth. I look at what was happening during the growth. All right. And that's good. You were dedicated, but in what were you dedicated? That would help. Okay. That would help. And y'all, that's why I got to get gains, because you know, y'all could think this stuff gonna slow down. Y'all could think, no, this stuff ain't gonna work forever and all this stuff. Okay. I just need to have gains. That's how I want to get them, so that belief can be there. Once y'all see me hitting them, y'all already achieving, but I'm just saying, that'll help. That'll help. How many sets of sprints you say? John, it looks like he's asking how many sets of sprints each session. 6. 6 sets. That's what I would say. Okay. Dylan is saying, I have no doubt in my mind that you can go 3 more inches. Harry and James did it, so you can definitely see 6 feet, 100%. And yes, Lance did put my video on his channel back in early 2013. Oh, okay, cool, cool. Now, as far as Harry and James, and yeah, I stopped mentioning Harry and James because they weren't barefoot. They may have grown 3 inches, and I hope they did. But I just stopped mentioning them because they weren't barefoot. And so that's why, man, I think it would be awesome if y'all could document y'all's height barefoot. That would just be incredible. You know, you don't have to do it, you know, for my sake. I'm just saying for your sake. And if you want to help others in the future, it'll be great if they could see you measure your height barefoot. That would really help. That way nobody can say nothing, you know. Nobody can say that, because a lot of people have been questioning whether Harry and James' height increase, you know, was legit, because they always had socks on. I think it's a shame that if it was legit, no one knows, because they were wearing socks. So I would encourage y'all to film a measurement barefoot, in case anyone wants to question you in the future. Does it matter what position you sleep in? Because I can't sleep on my back. I've tried and I just can't do it. I don't sleep on my back, bro. I sleep on my side, so you good. Don't worry about it. All right, for charisma, glucosamine, calcium, and arginine. Glucosamine, calcium, and arginine. Is that what you were taking at first, when you had 1 centimeter in 3 weeks, your first 3 weeks? Is that what you were taking at first? Now that's Cal, Mag, Zinc, ADEK, HGH supplement, glucosamine, gelatin, milk, and eggs. Okay. So previously, charisma, are you saying that you had more gains when you were just doing glucosamine, calcium, and arginine, and you feel you have less gains doing all these supplements? Is that what you're saying? So let me know. If you don't get to this one, it's okay. But is lifting furniture bad? Because today I had to lift heavy furniture with my dad. I felt like while I was lifting, I was thinking this can't be good. No, you're good, man. Lifting is fine, Mark. That's fine. Don't worry about decompression. You good, man. You good. The body's resilient. You're fine. Don't worry about that. I would say just keep doing your routine, giving your body those vertical messages. The only problem I had with Harry and James is that they were about 16 or 17. Yeah, I heard some information that they weren't 18, that they were actually 16 and 17. I just really wish, man, they were barefoot, because even if they were 16 or 17, I do think it would be remarkable if with intent they both achieved 3 inches in gains at the same time. That's just incredible. That means they actually influenced their growth, and they both had comparable height gains. So I just really wish they were barefoot, because even then it would be remarkable to me. It would say a lot. So that's why I don't mention them, even though, yeah, in the past I was inspired by what I saw. However, because of other questions that have been raised, man, I just say, you know what? I'm just doing my story on forward. I know what's real for me, and I encourage y'all to, if you're going to tell other people about your story, please show the legitimacy of it as much as you can, because that actually helps other people. It actually helps, man. So yeah. So look like that's it, y'all. I don't see no more questions. Hope I answered everything. Yeah, so you were saying previously. Oh, Charisma is saying previously he did glucosamine, calcium, and arginine, but now he's doing this. It sounds like what you're saying is you're doing more nutrition and it looks like your gains are slowing. If that's the case, go back to what you were doing before and see if you would notice something better. Do what works. Do what works for you. Okay? The whole reason why I'm putting this information out there is if there are challenges that you're having with gains. If there are challenges you're having, then you might want to try these other things. But if you're not having challenges, you are seeing gains, please continue doing what you're doing. Because the truth of the matter is we're all different, okay? And someone else may need these things. Someone else may need one thing while someone else just needs the other. So please keep that in mind. But then again, I still don't know exactly what the exercises were. Because what if you were doing just those 3 supplements at first, but you were doing many exercises, and then later you were only doing, just say, inversion, but taking all these supplements. See, now you're not giving yourself a fair chance. You're not giving yourself a fair judgment, a fair assessment. You really don't know. So if you were just taking 3 supplements and you were doing these multiple exercises and you got a centimeter in 3 weeks, then what would happen if you did all those exercises with all those supplements? You might get even more gains. But see, if you change the supplements and change the exercise, you don't have a fair experiment. You don't really know. You really don't know. That's why I say, fill these out and let me know. I gotta know. I gotta know. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up. They say, I was doing this, but then later this happened and all this is like, hey, I don't know. Too many elements may have changed. There's so many variables and so many combinations of variables. So you could think the nutrition is slowing you up, but did you change your exercise? So that's why I like to work with people personally, so I can see what they're doing. And if I'm not there with you personally, fill out these forms, these tables, so I can know, so I can really know how to help you. Let me see. Hey, Skin, just thought if the bone's too hard, will it hinder gains by keeping it from stretching? Also, if so, do you have any ideas on how to soften bones? I think you mentioned apple cider vinegar. I know you mentioned calcium, but will it make the bone too hard? I'm not concerned about the bone being too hard. Not concerned. I'm actually not concerned. But at the end of the day, John, at the end of the day, do what's working for you. Do what's working for you. But worrying about if the bone is too hard, and maybe I need to. I've always thought of coming out with a series on how to really look at bone, how to view it. But let me read this other question. Hey, Skin, just okay, yeah. John access. Not sure if his message came through. Okay, yeah. All right, so that's the last question that I'm going to address this question, but let me. I think this might end up being the last question that I address. So I'm gonna just go back up real quick, see if there's anything else that I may have missed. Raw cashews. Oh, I see. I was wondering if there's a reason you eat raw cashews, Mark. Is there a reason? Or it's just something you do for a snack? I didn't know if it was like a health benefit. You want to tell me about it, something. That's okay. Okay, look like that's everything. All right, so let me get to this subject of bones. Healthy fats, yeah, and that's true. That's true. Great. That's true. Okay, cool. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. That's true. In fact, for desserts, for the next week, I'll probably be eating a lot of nuts and honey. I think everybody needs healthy fats for goal. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Hey, Scan. Yeah. So let me get to this question. Hey, it's been an hour and a half. Again, I'm sorry about it being late. Oh, Charisma back in the building. I'm gonna get to you, Charisma, but I just want to just talk about this concept of hard bones a little bit. Some people might be concerned to take. Oh, I know how to address this. I think I do. Some people are concerned that if they take too much calcium, or if they're taking calcium, it'll make the bones too hard and it won't encourage growth. Well, here's a little factoid. Here's a little fact about calcium. I don't know if you know this, but calcium actually encourages bone growth. Okay? Oh, wait. My mind is going too many places. Calcium encourages cartilage growth. Yes, I said it. Calcium encourages cartilage growth. Okay? And that's why you want the ingredients in your body for it to make cartilage in the first place. So let's say you have your Irish moss and you have your green pastures and all the good things that actually helps your body to form cartilage in the bones. And you take in calcium. Well, the calcium will inspire your body to recruit what it needs to make that cartilage in the bone. Okay? That's what I'm holding out to you. Okay? So as far as calcium making the bones hard, if you are having the right nutrients, actually calcium will actually help your bones have more cartilage. Okay? And you can look it up. Cartilage actually bone actually inspires cartilage growth. And that's just one aspect. There's a whole other way. There's a whole lot more I can talk about it. Okay? But I want to get to some of these other questions. And I talking about this, I forgot about, I need to talk about grounding, and I haven't talked about this supplement that I wanted to talk about. And that supplement is actually calcium. So let me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I think it's being overlooked, y'all. It's being overlooked. Please don't be afraid of making the bones too hard. Now, if you're afraid of making the bones too hard and you're having height increases, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about it. But what I am saying is, I've noticed that if I've been doing my routine but calcium is missing, I don't see the results that I got when I was taking calcium. Okay? And I'm even talking, oh, please, remember my disclaimer, but even raw eggshell calcium, yeah, eggshell calcium. That was the main calcium supplement that I took. It was eggshell calcium. Eggshell calcium is a supplement I took. Okay? And I noticed when I was more regular taking eggshell calcium, my gains were high, man. They were good gains. But see, I didn't just take eggshell calcium. I was taking Irish moss too. I was taking my butter, oil, and cod liver oil. See, look, these things, the oil, the butter oil and cod liver oil, that encourages bone growth. But what do we need for bones? We need calcium, don't we? So now you have the oils and all that good stuff encouraging bone growth. You actually take in calcium. That helps the bones to grow, and it encourages calcium growth. And you got all these things working together. Please don't be afraid of your bones being too hard. Don't be afraid of that. Okay? I don't want you to be afraid of that. Be afraid of your bones being what they're supposed to be. And think of, you want your bones to thrive, and you want your bones to get a lot of circulation. Okay? Make sure your bones are healthy. Make sure they're getting a lot of circulation. And that's how to achieve vertical gains in your bone, making sure you're putting vertical pressure on your body, giving it the right signals, okay? So just don't be afraid of that. Now, let me talk a little bit about oh, I'm sorry, y'all, but I see this last sentence here. I think you mentioned apple cider vinegar. Yes. It depends on what you read. Some people say apple cider vinegar makes the bones weaker, it softens the bone. Other people say apple cider vinegar makes the bones stronger. Here's the thing about apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, and I hope I'm explaining this right, apple cider vinegar puts the bones in a state where either or can happen. It depends on your nutritional content, okay? It depends on how the minerals are in your body. It's like apple cider vinegar kind of like unlocks the door. It's one of those things. There are other things, but it unlocks the door where either more calcium can go in or calcium can go out. So it's about having that right environment in the body to where apple cider vinegar benefits your vertical gains, okay? And you want to make sure everything's balanced. That's why I say the things I do. So I don't want you to be afraid of calcium, but hey, if it's something you want to try, that's up to you. But don't be worried. I would say don't worry about your bones being too hard. Let's see here. Okay. From now, okay, back to charisma. I got 1 centimeter within the first 3 weeks, then only ½ centimeter in the next month. Oh, the nutrition was arginine, calcium, glucosamine. In that period, I was doing only inversion. Interesting. From now, I changed my nutrition and waiting for more gain now. Okay, all right. And what I would say, charisma, is look at what you were doing exercise-wise to get your gains and make sure you're doing that. Calcium can encourage bone growth if it's the right environment in the body. There are books out there that say calcium been giving people heart attacks and strokes. So, you know, when it comes to the type of calcium one has and when it comes to the state of the body, all of those things are important with calcium. That's why I've always been careful about mentioning calcium because, yeah. But yeah, I would say calcium does encourage bone growth. Generally, yeah, calcium would. I'm looking at John's comment. He says, I thought maybe a lot of calcium would just make the bone thicker. It can add length to the bone if you're in the right state, in my opinion. It can add length to the bone if your body is in the right state. And if you're adding, doing your vertical pressure, all the vertical signals, it can add length. For average people, perhaps it only makes it thicker. But we're not doing what average people do. So calcium is not going to have the same effect for us. If we do what average people do, yeah, it'll just make our bones thicker. But if we're doing above average things, we'll get above average results. Because we're changing the variables. It's all about the variables. Yeah, I'm always afraid of bone not being able to microfracture. Okay, here's the thing, John. You do want your bones to be able to remodel. And for your bones to remodel, it have to have those ingredients. And one of those things it needs is calcium. Okay, so you don't want to starve the bone. Okay? You don't want to starve it. You want to make sure it has everything it needs. Wolff's Law. Man, I probably read about Wolff's Law a long time ago, but I don't know. You have to. I don't know what Wolff's Law is. I think I've read about it in Wikipedia. I may have been exposed to Wolff's Law first on this natural height growth or something website, but yeah, I don't know what Wolff's Law is. But at any rate, let me go ahead and I don't know. It's already been almost 2 hours. I'm going to touch on these other things really quickly. And what I'm curious to know, John, what I'm curious to know is, how much calcium have you been taking? You don't have to answer this now, but how much calcium have you been taking now, and how much calcium have you been taking in the past? What is the true story of your calcium intake? I'm curious to know that. Really curious to know. Okay, so you don't have to answer that now. You can send an email, fill this out, you know, whatever. But that would be cool to know. But finally, let me go ahead and talk about these two things real quick. The supplement that helps but may be overlooked is, in fact, calcium. The recommended intake of calcium is 1,000 milligrams for a regular adult. What's interesting, though, is that the recommended amount for growing children is 1,300 milligrams, and the recommended amount for a geriatric person, one who has lost bone density and who have lost height, one who has lost height because of old age, the recommended calcium intake for them is 1,200 milligrams. And I always thought that was interesting. It's, you know, it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. So are people growing? Wait, so it's like this. How can I say this? It's just really interesting to me. So, and this may not be the best way to say this. This may not be the best way to say it, but so maybe I won't. I'll just encourage you to just think about this. To just think about this. If someone is in a state to where they can grow, if someone is in the state to where their body can achieve new vertical height, what the USDA, RDA, or whatever, what they're saying is, if your body is in a state where it can actually achieve height gains, you need 1,200 to 1,300 milligrams of calcium. It's also saying, if your body is in a state to where you are not going to receive height gains, 1,000 milligrams of calcium a day is sufficient. So here's my question to you. What state are you in? Are you in a state where your body is not inclined to achieve new height gains? Well, if your body is in a state where you are not inclined to achieve new height gains, you know what the recommended daily allowance of calcium is. Is your body in a state to where it is inclined to have height gains? That's a question that you have to answer. But we do know what the RDA is, the recommended daily allowance for someone whose body is already inclined to have increases in length, vertical length. I just thought it was interesting. And with calcium being as dangerous as it is, you know, people say calcium can be dangerous. Even the recommended daily allowance for someone who's older and has a weaker body system is 1,200. And I have read somewhere, I got it somewhere, that adults, old adults who have lost height and they take in enough calcium that they start to see gains in their height again. Their height gets back to where it was. But not just taking in calcium, they're also doing jumps, you know, different bone stimulating exercises. I just thought that was interesting. And it's recommended that they take a greater amount of calcium than just regular adults. And while taking that greater amount of calcium, they're seeing a change in their height. I just thought that was interesting. So I'm not trying to lead anyone in the wrong path in whatever you do. I encourage you to check with your medical professional, your health professional, whoever you have. You always want to make sure that you're doing the safe thing. But I just wanted to just give you a little food for thought, something to think about when it comes to your calcium intake, okay? Now that I've talked about that, I'm going to ask you to think about the fact that a third of your life is spent sleeping. A third of your life is spent sleeping. So please, when it comes to this grounding blanket, look up earthing, E-A-R. I'm going to type it. I'm going to type it real quick. Look that up. Look up that word. It's legit. And what I am asking you to think about at this time, because I did say I want to talk about it. I'll say this much. A third of your life occurs during sleep. And most of your growth occurs during sleep. So the environment that you create while sleeping, the environment that you create for the sleeping portion of your life is important. And this is just something that I want you to consider in order to give yourself a greater edge, okay? Have I ever used an earthing blanket? No, but it's on my Grow Tall wish list. I will say plants that were exposed to earthing grew taller than plants that were not, okay? They were more vibrant. So it's on my Grow Tall wish list and something I look to get. But if it's within your ability to get, it's something that I would recommend. All right. So looks like that's, I'm going to read these real quick. All right, John says, I used to take 1,500 milligrams a day, but then I stopped. The sources were calcium citrate and milk, including raw and whole milk, okay? Hate's going to have to run and get a shower and get some dinner, but great talking to you. Thanks. All my questions, everything I needed to know was answered. Excellent. Looking forward to next week. Okay, later, Mark. Later. Thank you for joining in. Last question. This one-day rest for exercises included in the table essential? I'm not saying it's essential. I'm not saying it is. It's up to you. It's up to you. Yeah. It's up to you. I'm just going to say it's up to you. I do it so I can rest. But it's up to you, Charisma. I'm not in state. I'm in Ireland. Joke. Awesome chat, man. All right, later, Matt. Later. I'm glad you learned. Keep up the motivation and let's get them gains. You got that right, bro. All right. Okay, vertical muscle. Oh, skin, quick question. There was a supplement you wanted to talk about. Do you wish to talk about it today? Or do you want to wait till next time? I actually kind of talked about it. It was calcium. But we're going to wrap this up. Skin tight. What is your opinion on ankle weights hanging off bed or chair to lengthen legs by lengthening knee cartilage? Oh, good question, Dylan. I think that's up to you. It's not something I practice, but some of the other gentlemen here do have more experience with that than I do. So perhaps you can talk to them about that. thank you, Dylan, for coming. I think it's the coolest thing. You actually inspired me back in the day. Just wanted you to know that. I'm imagining you're probably like, trying to do the math, you might be what, 21 now, something like that. I think when I saw your video, you was like 17 or something. So, hey, glad you're here, man. Thank you for chiming in. I appreciate everybody. I'm sorry I was late. I don't know, he had to give me a thumbs down, but that's cool. Whoever that was. Thank you for showing up, and I'll try to, you know, get on even earlier so that if there's any technical difficulties, they can get resolved soon. Okay. Thank y'all for chiming in. I really enjoyed this, appreciated it, and I will see you next week. Don't forget, send those questions in. Peace out.